Joining me today is Mark Hayden. Mark, welcome. Thank you for joining.
Hello, how are you doing today?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
I'm good. I'm really good. It's been a very busy, like a busy day like I like, where there's lots of things going on. I'm juggling lots of
You,
different projects at once.
you do. You always juggle lots of things every time I talk to you. Obviously, you are an actor, or you have been an actor and you do different pantos. How did you get into that?
Well, I always wanted to be an actor, so I think I was 4 when I said I wanted to be an actor to my parents, and they looked at me in disgust and said 80% of them are unemployed 80% of the time. Uh, which I thought was good statistics for a 4-year-old to
I was going to
comprehend.
say, at the age of 4,
Yeah,
that's really
exactly.
specific.
So very specific. But I just did it anyway. I really wanted to do it, and uh, at the time it was quite a difficult road to take because it was nowadays I went to a drama school, so you don't have to go to drama school, but at the time it was kind of like the done thing. You went to drama school. So, I became a classically trained actor at Webber Douglas Academy of Dramatic Art, which got to 99 years old, and then it merged with Central School of Speech and Drama when it was 99 years old. Yes, a wonderful school. I should write, I don't know, some stories about it, because I suppose it was a bit like Hogwarts, but a drama school.
I was going to say, is it like Fame, the original TV series version? That's how I want it to be.
It wasn't like, well, no, it wasn't really, because we weren't like that. I don't know, theatrical in that way, I suppose. It was hard work, when you went to drama school. It was the first year we just, we were all like training to be, theatre actors, really. It sort of trains you in theatre acting, but you learn to sing operatically as part of the course.
Okay.
You learn to dance. So when the first year, you're literally, you're up at, I don't know when the first class was, probably 9 o'clock. My colleagues who are still in drama school, or who are still know me from drama school, will say, oh, no, it wasn't like that. But it seemed like we got up at 9 o'clock and we just danced all day, had lunch break. Then we danced till 6 o'clock and did contemporary dance and yoga and breathing exercises. And then we then had to go and see final shows, at 6:30, 7 o'clock, and finishing at 9:30 or something, and then probably having a pint afterwards. And I think I got told off once because I dozed off in a final show, but that's because I was so tired from all this dancing. And I mean, I've got 2 left feet. I mean, I don't probably have 2 left feet now. It's sort of been drummed out of me, but I wasn't a natural dancer, put it that way. But I can box step with the best of them now.
Oh, that's awesome. And
so yeah,
how did when you started the school, did you understand you'd have to train in all these disciplines, or was you just thinking, oh, I want to be a serious stage actor, and who needs to dance or who needs to sing?
Well, I wanted to act. I loved acting. It was exciting. It was thrilling. It just made me feel alive. So that's what I wanted to do. There were quite a lot of blocks to that because I wanted to go to the drama school. There was only about 5 decent drama schools at the time. Webber Douglas, Lambda, RADA, Central, and Guildford, I think, were the ones I applied for. Or maybe I applied to another one, can't remember. Anyway, and you had to apply, and there was about 1,000 people applying to each of these courses, and there's about 30 people who get taken on. Now, if you get taken on and get given a place, you also had to get the money for the place, because it wasn't like now. Now, a lot of these places are a degree level, and so you will get a degree or a student loan or something like that. But because these were academies and they didn't have a degree course, you had to privately fund it or get a discretionary grant from your local council, which meant you get the place at drama school, but then you've got to audition again to get the money to go. So I had to then audition again. Unfortunately, I was in Norfolk at the time. My formative years were in Norfolk, and then had 1 discretionary grant a year for all music, all singing, all dancing, of the whole county. And these, probably hundreds of people auditioned for this 1 scholarship. And then Surrey had 20, which doesn't sound a lot either, but that was the most of any council in the whole of England. So we moved to Surrey, and I was like, oh, brilliant, 20 That's fantastic. So yeah, so I got one of those very luckily. You know, by hook or crook, I got that, and I was accepted into Guildford School of Acting. But at the time, that was very, very singy, dancey, and seeing as I couldn't sing a note at all, and I had two left feet, I was sort of like, I don't think this is going to be a good plan for me to go to this school. I'm not going to enjoy it. And Webber Douglas was, you know, classical theatre, plays, Shakespeare, you know, a bit of everything, and you know, and it just seemed a bit more of a better fit for me. But I got onto the waiting list there. I didn't get a place. I was on the waiting list, and I was like, okay, I've got a place at Guildford, and I'm on the waiting list for Webber Douglas, and I really, you know, I want to go to drama school, so you know, worst case scenario, I'll go to Guildford and I'll be a brilliant left-footed dancer and flat singer, you know, it'll be great, I'll get loads of work, or I'll go to Webber Douglas. So I just kept phoning Webber Douglas going, hi, I'm on the waiting list. I don't know if I was at the top of the waiting list or the bottom or where it would be. And they were like, no, Mark, it's fine. I went, okay, yeah, fine. And then I'd ring up again going, I've just got my grant. You know, I just wanted to know where I was on the waiting list. And I think probably just that cheekiness got me a place. So
amazing.
That was good. And yeah, and I had a great time there. It was an interesting place. Like I say, a lot of the teachers were, I mean, there were loads of characters there, but there was hilarious characters really, and you learnt so much, and you learnt all sorts of things like Stanislavski and, you know, Brechtian theatre, but you didn't, none of it, or Laban and all these other things, mime and all these technical, you know, that you'd read books on. We got given a reading list of books, but it was a very practical course. And pretty much they didn't say, we are going to teach you this technique, which is Stanislavski, or this is that. They just taught you stuff and threw stuff at you. And they just sort of said, be sponges and take all of this in. And I was very fortunate because I had help from an amazing acting coach called Hildegard Neal, who unfortunately is no longer with us. She recently passed away. But she was like my mentor, and she helped me get into drama school. She coached me on my pieces. And she said, Mark, just remember, be like a sponge at drama school. They're going to throw loads of stuff at you. Just soak it all up and then work out what works for you. And so that's what I did. I just sort of like soaked up as much as I could, didn't question it, didn't rebel against. Some other people were like, I don't like this. You know, I was just like, you know, just these guys know what they're doing. I may not seem to me like they know what I'm doing, but you know, I was 19 at the time. What do I know at 19 compared to these older people? You'd think you'll know everything at 19, but maybe you don't. Maybe you do. Who knows? No ageism required. But yeah, I just sort of soaked everything up and then went out into the world. And I was like, well, the most important thing is I must get an agent when I leave drama school. It's vital because, you know, you do this 3 years of training, you're a classic actor, blah, blah, blah. You've kind of got this little gold badge on you. You've got to get a top agent. So in your final shows and audition presentation, you've got to get that agent, and then you'll get lots and lots of work. So that was the theory anyway. So I got anxiety, really. I kind of started getting stage fright towards the end of finals, because I was probably putting so much pressure on myself, going, well, if I, you know, we're doing this audition presentation, it's a 2-minute scene and a 2-minute scene, and if you fuck it up, that's your career is over. It's a bit like when you do GCSEs and they say, if you don't pass your GCSEs, the world will end. You know, fire will engulf you and there's no point in living. And you're like, you believe it at the time, but it's obviously nonsense. And so I think I put myself under a lot of pressure, but also the school did sort of grind you down and build you back up again. And they did a really good job of grinding me down and a really crap job of building me back up again, I would say. Yeah, I mean, it was great in that I could speak standard English and I could walk around, you know, but I think I felt like a bit like Ron Seal, man, you know, I felt a little bit wooden. But there we are. Anyway, so I didn't get an agent at the end of all these final shows. And I did one final show, and a top agent wanted me to call them, and then the office lost the number, and then they never called back, and I was like, well, did they ring or not, or what, and I was like getting desperate here. Am I never going to get this agent? And I didn't get an agent at all. No agent. Everybody else in my year got an agent. All of
my life.
I know, and I'm going, oh god, so I'm now I'm already anxious. I'm now like, this is confirmed anxiety because you are shit. So I thought, right, it's really important, because you've put blood, sweat and tears into this. You've put your life on the line. You've said you're going to be an actor. You're not going to jack in after all this training for 3 years and £30,000 spent by the council on your training. It's not to be sniffed at. Thank you very much, Surrey County Council, for investing in me. And they believed in me, didn't they? And Webber Douglas believed in me, so I can't be all bad. So I just went, I've got to work. So there was this thing called PCR, which was written in red paper, on red paper with black ink, so you couldn't photocopy it, with, really badly paid jobs in holiday camps and, touring theatre out the back of a van and TIE and some really great stuff and some rumours about a movie that was going on or a casting director. I literally sat, my sister said, oh, I don't understand, because me and her lived together when I left drama school. I used to sit at this electric typewriter, not even a laptop, because laptops didn't exist then. Electric typewriter that could remember 2 pages of letter. And I'd sit and I'd just write. I'd do my temp job. I was working in a bar and working in a box office, do that all day. And I'd just sit and write. And it was at the time when they had regional theatres. So they had the Redgrave Theatre in Farnham, the Thorndike Theatre in Leatherhead, Guildford Eden Arno Theatre. And these places were reps, and they would take people on for a season, and you'd do a season of play. So I'd literally find out what the artistic director was, write them a letter. I'd have some general castings. Anyway, by hook or crook, I got one job, and one job led to another job, led to another job, led to another job, led to another job. And actually, I think we were talking before we started pressing the record button about how things happen at the time, and you're like, this is a terrible thing that happened. How am I ever going to get out of this? This is awful. But then when you look back, you go, oh, thank heavens that happened, because I didn't get an agent. I worked my socks off to work and work and work, and I networked with people and all of that sort of thing. And it resulted in me, I think I was about 27, and I was in a movie, and I was doing open air Shakespeare, and I was producing a mid-scale tour of a play called The Glass Menagerie, and I also got into the West End in The Mousetrap. So
oh wow,
all of that kind of happened kind of at once, but that was blood, sweat and tears.
Well, it's the old thing of overnight success is never overnight success.
No,
it's like suddenly you're everywhere, but actually you work bloody hard to get everywhere.
Yeah, precisely. And the thing that was interesting is a lot of my people I studied with by that time had quit acting. They'd either been dumped by their agents, because sometimes these top agents can take people on, and if they don't work, then they let them go. And that is sort of not great for you if you're an actor. You go, I didn't get any work, help. So a lot of people, it didn't work out for them. But because of my experience of I've got to prove it and do it myself, it helped me. When I look back, it really helped me, and I think it helps me still now to know that is how things are. It's nice to think sometimes things come really easy. Sometimes they do, but sometimes they don't, and sometimes you have to just be persistent. You have to have tenacity and all that sort of thing. So yeah,
I think also what's interesting with you is the vision that you had though from it. Like, not everyone knows at the age of 4 what they want to do when they grow up. Did you ever deviate from that? I want to be an actor. At any point did you go, actually, I want to be a spaceman or a fireman or an anthropologist?
Well, that's an interesting thing, and I think my parents and I would probably disagree on this one, but my parents were they weren't that keen that I became an actor. And I kind of understand that because of those statistics they quoted at me. You know, they want to look after their son and make sure he has a happy life, and they're not from a theatrical background at all. And so they were sort of like clutching at straws about, well, you know, what else do you want to do? And I was quite good at sciences, which is completely unrelated to acting. And so I did sciences, and they sort of said, oh, do you want to, you know, you like James Herriot? I said, I love James Herriot. It's amazing. I love it because I love animals, massive animal lover. And of course, in James Herriot, it's all very twee and they're, you know, very lovely. The original James Herriot, you know, the one with Christopher Timothy, not the one on Channel 5 that everyone loves, but I've not seen. So I've got that to
It's not bad,
enjoy.
I can tell you.
Oh, that's good. That's good. Yeah. But anyway, my dad was brilliant. You know, he was really committed and went, well, you know, if you're really interested, Mark, I know somebody who is a vet, so I'll get you some work experience in this veterinary surgery, and you can, you know, see what it's like to be a vet. So I did it for 2 days in Ely, and I think we spayed about 10 cats and castrated about 3 dogs. And one dog came in because its eye had been attacked by a fox and it was going to lose its eye. But basically, I was like, no, I don't think I really want to be a
like
vet.
The books, is it?
It's not like the books. All you do is come in the morning and say hello. Yes, I'll take the cat. Yeah, and you're just spaying and castrating all day. And I was like, no, I don't think that's really what I had in mind. So I was very thankful for that. But all the time, you know, there was I felt there was a pressure for me to go down that road. Like I wasn't really allowed to do art or drama. It was sort of not seen as a proper subject to do. But I didn't have a value like science or maths or anything like that, you know. But that was fine because I ended up going to do A levels, and one of my things is I was going to do my drama that I wasn't allowed to do at my GCSEs. I did it when I was doing my A levels in sort of 6 months, and you know, I got very good. I got an A straight away, but and also I nearly got thrown out of my A level course because all I did was my drama, and we did a Caucasian chalk circle, and all I did was I just cared about that. It was very apparent what I really liked, you know, and so, you know, it's interesting, you know, don't please other people, really please yourself. It's very important to please, you know, do what interests you, and it's very important to support people in their interests, not try and guide them in a strong way. It's better to let them find their own way and make their own mistakes and support them in what they're interested in, I would say, my experience. Yeah.
No, I think you're right. I think and you see it with children and their development. So when they're sort of 0 to 7, they're just sponges absorbing everything. But also they are characters. They know their own mind. And once you start getting older and you get more aware of the societal kind of norms or the expectations, you do see those characters disappear sometimes, which is kind of really sad. And I do wonder. So I was musical. I did loads and loads of music. But music, drama, art, these aren't necessarily valued subjects, like you say. But they are amazing, even if you don't want it for a career, of producing stronger characters. People, you know, confidence from performing, confidence from that creativity piece, or even just from working in a team to make something work. And in ways that some of the academic subjects don't always give you. And I find it really interesting. You say that there's only like 1 grant in Norfolk, and you know, only 20 in Suffolk, and even then, Surrey. Even then, that's not enough. That's not really enough proportionally for people who want to do it.
You're going to get me on my hobby horse in a minute, aren't you?
Go for it.
Okay, I'm going to get on my hobby horse.
Bring out the hobby horse.
So, you know, one thing I find very interesting is that like performance skills and all of that are not valued in formal education, and they should be, because let's face it, when people are in the workplace, they are expected to do things like this all the time: present on on a Teams call or something like that, or a podcast or something like that. But they're often on Teams or Zoom doing meetings, or they're presenting to their other colleagues at work. So you have to learn how to present yourself, how to carry yourself, how to feel confident in your own skin. This is vital to become a whole human being.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's no good that things have been pared down to: can you read, can you write, can you tie your shoelaces, can you put a school uniform on and turn up at 9 o'clock and leave at 3, can you pass these exams, well done, tick, bye. It's got to be more holistic. It's not just a box ticking exercise. And connecting with your communication skills and who you are and discovering who you are is part of education. It's got as much value as passing exams. When you're in the big wide world, that's probably what you're going to use more. Ask me about chemistry now. I'm an absolute idiot. I don't know anything. But at the time when I was studying, I knew everything. But it's so important. That this is why it ties in with one of the things I'm starting up in Guildford. Sign up tomorrow. Called Make Believe Academy. So it is a what are they called? Like McDonald's.
Oh, franchise.
A franchise. It's a franchise, and it's run by a guy called Joel, who's amazing man, and and their philosophy and what they're trying to do is exactly what chimes with me. It's about children feeling, confident in themselves, whatever their abilities are. They feel confident in themselves. They can stand up in front of a group of people and sing or dance or present or say lines or whatever, and they can feel that power and feel confident. And I think that confidence is so important in life. It's one of the most important things you can ever learn or explore.
I completely agree, and I think it's even harder now. I am so grateful that I grew up without a phone or a computer. I'm really grateful that I have them now because of what they offer me. But I think, imagine when you have those terrible days at school. When I was at school, when you were at school, it stayed at school. You went home and you could kind of forget about it the next day. But now you go home and it's online. It doesn't stop.
Yeah.
And having the confidence that one of the things that you and I both do therapy, that is understanding the only thing you can really control is your own emotions. It's how you respond to a situation. And I think the earlier in your life that you learn that, the easier your life gets as you get older, because it takes a lot of us till our 30s, 40s, 50s to get comfortable in ourselves, to not worry about what other people think, because we've never been taught that actually it doesn't matter what other people think. That's their problem, not yours. And I think as children, when you're getting negative stuff in person and online, it just eats at your confidence. It eats at that desire to engage with other people sometimes.
Yes. And there's the other side of it as well, which is whatever you're watching and whatever it's telling you to think and feel and believe is true. Believe is the norm. Believe what you're supposed to look like, what you're supposed to think like, what you're supposed to sound like.
1984.
Yes, it's kind of we are voluntarily walking into 1984. We've walked into it. We're in the middle of it. My phone tells me everywhere I've been in the last month. This is where you've been on the map, and it tells me, it's following me and telling me everything. I mean, it may not be the central government that's doing it. It may be Mr. Facebook and Mrs. Google that are doing that, but it's still an entity that's monitoring you all the time. I would just say, to anybody, young or old, it's a choice when you pick up your phone. It's a choice when you go on social media. And I mean, I'm the worst for doom scrolling. I'll have my time, and I'm putting the children to bed and I still sit in with them till they go to sleep. But that's my doom scrolling time. And I can get stuck in that doom scroll. I can be on there for hours. But, it is designed to hit your dopamine. It's designed to make you stay on it for hours and hours, so they can show you as many ads as they like and find out as much about what you like and what you don't like, so they can send you more ads. And that's what the purpose of those platforms is to harvest data from you and learn what they can sell you. That's really what their business model is, really. There are great benefits. You can have your Facebook group, you can see your mates, what you do. There's great benefits. I'm not saying it's all bad and dark and horrible. I'm just saying you've got to be aware that these are businesses, and that's what their motive is. Their motive is to show you as many adverts as possible. So their motive is to keep you on there and find out what to show you so that you buy stuff, so that people spend more money on their ads. That's the basic for them. But the effect on society is dramatic. Like, I went to the petrol station the other day, just filled up with 10 quid's worth of petrol, paid the guy, he did not look at me once.
Wow.
He looked at his till, he looked at his device, he looked everywhere else. He did not look me in the eye once. And that's because we've all got used to, look, I've got it here, here's my phone. We've all got used to this. It's easier.
It's interesting because so many people I talk to, we end up talking about the tech because it's everywhere now, and no matter what you're doing, it ends up playing a role, whether it's to communicate, to learn, to do something else. And I think the consistent message that I get is, like you say, it's a choice. We have to choose how we interact with these things, just the same as we choose how we respond to the external stimulus from other people. But it's understanding that it is designed to be addictive. It's designed to pull you in. It's designed to do that, but not for your best interests. Not for a malicious reason either. I'm not into I don't think there's a mass conspiracy around it. I think it's a business doing what business does. How do I make money? How do I sell you more stuff?
Yeah, I think it's as simple as that. And, there's lots of great things that have happened from it. We're sitting here talking now. We wouldn't be doing that. Podcasts would not even exist. There's so much benefits to technology, and AI and all these other things that are coming on board that can help productivity and help creativity, and help you do more and getting the right vibe, getting the right vibration. Really, it's very easy to fall into the wrong side of it, and I don't know what the answer is, because it's hard to have the self-discipline, isn't it, to get away from it. I think we're privileged because we didn't grow up with it. So we can remember the time when we didn't have it, and then we can have a choice to pick up our phone and get addicted, go, I don't want to do that anymore, I'll go for a walk, or I'll go and do this. But younger people, not my children, they do have those little Amazon tablets, to play games on and learn on, and they're all limited on time and do educational tasks first and all these sort of things, and they're rationed anyway by us. We ration them and make them, you will have fun outside. Go and dance in the park. No, they like to go dance in the park and all that sort of thing, but we kind of want that to carry on as long as possible. There will come a time when the children get older and then they go onto their console games and they want a mobile phone, and that's when it gets trickier, I think, and that's when you become addicted, and a lot of younger people now, that's all they've known. They haven't had the social interactions face to face. The social interactions are on Facebook or on Snapchat or on Instagram and I don't even know what they're all called, but X, whatever they're called.
There's so many.
There are loads of them, but people are communicating on that, heaven forfend you phone people up or meet them in person. It's more, the norm is that you communicate via a phone.
I see, and what I find interesting is, after the pandemic, and I'll hold my hand up, I am an introvert at heart. I can happily sit in a dark room with a book and ignore the world, but I'm not a hermit. And I think very few of us are hermits, because that takes a whole other level. After the pandemic, I found myself getting grumpy about seeing people at first. I was like, my routine has been interrupted. Thankfully, my husband and I get on. It turns out we can get on when we can't go anywhere else. That's good. But now I'm back to what I'd say normal, because I actually really like people. I like interacting with them. But I found my mindset had shifted. And I also found that I had to stop watching the news. In fact, I couldn't even watch negative programs. We started to watch Chernobyl and War of the Worlds at the start of the pandemic. We had to stop because it was, with everything else going on and the news 24/7, people are dying and it's crazy. I found myself getting obsessed by the news for a little while.
Yeah.
Constantly had it on, and then they just stopped one day and went, no, because I live in a forest. Like, I'm very, very lucky. The pandemic was pleasant for me because I live in a forest. I can walk out my door and go into the trees, and that's wonderful. But it still took that time to readjust. I wonder how long it would take us to readjust to not having technology again. Like, could we go back to that state, and would we go back? But it's finding that balance now, because ultimately the cat's out the bag. We've got all these things. They have great benefits. But as a child, and particularly a child who's now lived through a pandemic, where often the answer was, here, go on the tablet, go on the TV, because I'm trying to work, because it's crazy, because I don't know what else to do. And I think with what you're doing with the drama franchise school, hopefully helps them see another way now of being, and reminding people that interactions are important, that confidence is important, that just being with people is important. Even if you're an introvert, you need people.
Yeah, it is such an important life skill. And you were sort of saying, oh, how do you bill me? And I think the theme that runs through everything I do is, I'm doing this Make Believe Academy. It's about connecting people. It's about people feeling confident and feeling good about themselves. I've hosted this thing called Sing Along. So Sing Along, A Sound of Music was running for ages. All over the world it ran, and in Hollywood Bowl and New York.
I did one at university. I even dressed up for it.
Yeah,
Got
so
fancy dress out.
Yeah, so I used to host that all up and down the country at #1 sort of theatres everywhere. And then they did other spin-offs like Joseph, and Matilda's the current one. So Grease, Rocky Horror Show. You'll see me in my stilettos and my basque for that one at
Why
the
not?
Prince Charles Cinema. Tickets still available. But that again is about bringing people together, people feeling good about themselves, interacting. The Murder Mystery Company. I run a murder mystery company. I bring people together. We do a murder mystery. It's problem solving. It's kind of, I call it Carry On Agatha Christie. It's hilarious. There's double entendre jokes, but there's a real murder mystery to solve. Everybody has a laugh. I bring people together. They have a laugh. They enjoy themselves. They feel good about themselves. So everything's kind of got this thing. If there's anything that I'm doing, I like to bring people together. I like people to have a good time. I like to help them do that. So that's what I do. So that's the job title, whatever that is.
No labour required.
No labour required.
Why is it important to you that people come together and feel good and have the confidence? What does it mean to you?
Gosh, what does it mean to me? It just makes me feel good. It just makes me feel good. I tell you, and the other thing I enjoy, a lot is as an actor, and I have done a bit of TV and film, but not so much. I've done mainly theatre. And the thing I love about doing in theatre is I love to do a comedy, because I love having that comedy timing, and you feel the audience there, and you know that you may have. I mean, one's never playing for laughs in a comedy, but when you've done something for a long time, if everything works out right, is usually you can get a good reaction on certain things, and then there's usually another couple of lines where you'll get another titter and another titter on top of that. And there's something about doing a comedy like that where you do the payoff, you get the big laugh, you go, brilliant, got it, I feel fantastic. Do the little topper laugh, other big laugh on top, you go, brilliant, fantastic, got it. So I love that. I think it's that. I enjoy that. I enjoy people laughing. I enjoy people coming together. It just makes me feel good. I don't know. That's the thing that I enjoy. I don't know why.
I remember when I used to do lots of concerts as a musician, and the buzz when you do a good concert. And again, I guess it's the same thing of the audience enjoys the moment. And it's, I guess, from your point of view, it's a moment that you've created. It's a memory that you've created. And the sort of that if how to say, maybe like the energy of the theatre, perhaps, it's playing back at you. You can feel the shift, you can feel the enjoyment, and in response you feel good too.
Yes. And I remember when I was doing the Mousetrap, and I did that a couple of times. I did it once as a young character called Christopher Wren, and then as an older character, like the man of the house, Giles Ralston, who's a bit more boring. But Christopher Wren's very flamboyant and funny. And he basically comes in and he says laugh after laugh after like hilarious thing after hilarious thing, and everyone kind of likes him. They go, oh, he's lovely and he makes me laugh, and then he does something literally just before the end of the first half. And by the way, I'm not going to give away. I have been sworn to secrecy of who does it in the Mousetrap, but I can tell you that everybody is alive in the first half of the play, and there is a murder just before the curtain. Okay, I won't say who's murdered, but all the characters set up, and so you get a flavour of what they're like. Oh, that one's that's the funny one, that's the mysterious one, that's the dependable one, so this character who you think is Mr. Funny and suddenly turns on a sixpence, and you go, oh, he's a bit. He could be a murderer. Maybe he's the murderer. And it's so interesting when you've been gaining people's confidence of them laughing and feeling comfortable, that you suddenly do this suddenly strange thing, and the audience goes completely silent. You can hear a pin drop. Again, I enjoyed that moment as well.
I bet.
These little moments of theatricality. I enjoy that kind of shaping of moments, if you know what I mean, and how it affects an audience. And I just enjoy that. That's why I'm an actor. That's why I like bringing people together and all that stuff.
No, that's brilliant. What else? So with your murder mysteries then, why did you start that? How did that come around?
Well, as I mentioned, I was in the Mousetrap. I was 27, so I basically drank my entire wages.
Good effort.
because there were all these exciting places to go out late at night and meet everybody who works in the West End as well. It was just like, wow, and young, free and single and enjoying life, really. So I just did that. And I didn't really save very much money. You did get from the Mousetrap, I mean, it's a lot more now, I think. I don't know if it still happens now, actually, but you did used to get, if you didn't miss any shows of the Mousetrap, you used to get a bonus. So in the last week, you would get your bonus, and you would get all your holiday pay, because you weren't allowed to have holiday while you were doing the Mousetrap. Did it for a year, which is a long time. Great experience. And so I got this big payday, and I think I went off to Australia, traveling. Nice. And then I came back, and of course I was completely penniless because I'd drunk all my wages. And then my holiday pay, I had completely busted on a huge holiday, and gone away for like 2 months. And
but it's the age to do it, though.
It is the age to do it. But then I literally had a mortgage, and I was working in the box office again because I'd kept that job, and I was working as a barman, and I was literally doing sort of waiter service, silver service, anything I could find. And then I was also working as a temp. I was just doing loads, and I worked out on the wages I was getting, there was no way I could pay my mortgage and feed myself. There was absolutely no way.
Gosh. Yeah.
My friend was doing murder mysteries and was paying me, 80 quid a pop, which was quite a lot in those days. And I was literally relying on this work, to do this work, and that would get me through. And I sort of said to him, listen, I think this internet thing, it could be quite big. So let's set up a murder mystery company. He said, well, I've already got a murder mystery company. I said, okay, yeah, well, let's set up an online murder mystery company. I'll do the online, and we'll do it together. But it didn't work out that we did it together. So in the end, I did an online one, and he carried on doing his one as he had done it before. But the murder mystery online, it's fascinating now. I used to get inquiries through, and people would phone up, "Are you a real company?" Because the internet was so new. It was nobody used the
Yeah.
internet, and so you'd have lots of phone calls and faxes of booking forms going through because it was, the email was very Neolithic. Whereas nowadays, people will literally book the event from just looking at one web page, and they can book sometimes that cost thousands of pounds, and they've not even spoken to you. So
Yeah.
the trust in the internet has changed a lot over time. But it served me very well, and the company's 24 years old. It's 25 years old in
Congratulations.
February. Yes, it's like
That's
having your own
amazing.
baby.
A grown-up baby now.
Yes, a grown-up baby now. Yes, it's strange. 25 years. It's gone so fast. But yeah, the exciting times ahead.
Definitely. So, what was the name of your school again? Make
Oh,
Dreams.
right. So Make Believe Academy,
Make
Guildford.
Believe Academy.
Yeah.
So that opens in September.
That
Is that
opens,
right?
yeah, the last week of September. So literally very early stages. I'm still doing training, putting together a marketing plan, all that kind of stuff. I've run businesses before, and I run multiple businesses, I suppose. So yeah, so I'm sort of doing the groundwork on that, the preparation on that. The Murder Mystery Company's been running for a long time. That's called murdermysteryevents.com if you ever want to go. Name drop.
You got a .com.
I got a
you have
.com.
been around a long time.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like
I got
gold
two
dust now.
.coms of that domain name,
Now
and then a
you're
couple of
showing
other
off.
.coms. One of my things is buying domain names, and I probably bought too many. But anyway.
I think anyone who works in business, I've done the same thing as well. It's like,
Yeah.
that's a really good name for a company I don't have yet.
Yeah, that's happened. That's happened. I've still got a few of those. But
Why not?
yeah, but yeah. So where were we? I've forgotten what we were talking about. It's easily done.
Your murder mystery company was called murdermysteryevents.com. We got to.
Yes. So it's called murdermysteryevents.com. We run shared events all over the place. We do private events. Everything from like a hen night or a birthday party. Might be a big birthday party. So at the moment, we've got a lot of people who are getting very nice manor houses and having a murder mystery there privately, and that's very nice. But also
Nice.
corporate business. There's a lot of team building events going on. People celebrating, so many years of business for their company, and also murder mystery Christmas parties is quite a big thing, and we do a lot of business around that time of year.
I've actually done a murder mystery corporate event when I was working in corporates.
Mhm.
And I have to say, I went along with a bit of a, oh my God, am I going to have to act mindset? Because I'm not an actor.
Mhm.
Can you believe it? But it was such good fun in the end. And we all really got into it. And I think having someone like you, might be been you, I don't know, it was like 6-7 years ago. But having that good setup so that people relax, get into it. And before you know it, you're just enjoying yourself.
Exactly.
It's definitely worth doing.
That's
and now
why
I do them all the time.
Yeah, do you do them all the time now? You're addicted.
Yeah, well, there's a steam train where I live that does murder mystery on a steam train.
Oh,
I love it.
lovely.
It's the most fun ever.
Oh well, I would love to do something like that. There's a chance we might be doing that in the future. I'm not sure. We'll see. Lots of things that are possibilities. Not all of them happen. So we'll see about that one. But yeah, murder mysteries at Christmas time. It is an interesting one because people go, oh gosh, enforced fun. But the way we've structured the murder mystery, it's quite disarming. People have a laugh. It's irreverent. They fall into having a laugh about it. And then by the time, and always have the murder happen in front of people. I always think that's important. I learned that from the Mousetrap, obviously. People love a good murder in front of you.
Absolutely.
So there's usually a horrible body on the carpet before the starter, and then they're carted off. And then you have to solve it over the rest of the event. And it's always interesting because you get to sort of after the main course, you go, right, here's your solution sheet. So who did it? And they go, what? But we were laughing so much we didn't write any notes. Well, we told you to write notes. Time to remember. So yeah, I mean it's a joy to do those events, and we also do a full calendar of shared parties around the country, and that brings in a slightly different clientele to the corporate event business. People who are real fans of murder mystery, and so I've made some of the newer plots are a bit more hard to solve. Some people are beginning to say they're too hard because I write most of them myself. I have. There was a point actually where I think I had 3. I was literally I've written over 20, so I got to a point in the I don't know around 2010ish, and I'm actually just cutting and pasting bits of other murder mysteries together here. I've got the plot, but I can't write new words. I don't know if it was writer's block or whatever, or I don't know. I just sort of tied into doing the same thing over and over again. And I was like, I can't do this. So I had another actor get involved and help with the writing. He's actually a writer as well, called Chris G, very talented writer. And so he wrote some of the words of my murder mysteries. We plotted it out together. We said what was going to happen and where. I said, look, you do the words because I'm done with the words. You do the words. And then and so he's done those 3, but the rest are sort of like down to me. And they're very good because they're interactive. They're funny. We mix doing scenes, because doing scenes is important, to get that pin drop moment or to get that laugh moment. That's always kind of in the script, but we also improvise with the guests, so there's always a bit of fun improvisation. A lot of the actors are very good at improvising, so there's that fun going on as well. So it's that kind of immersive, interactive, theatrical event. So it's great fun.
No, I remember it was really good when I did it, and I said the murders on the steam train are always good fun as well. As long as you also have fish and chips as part of the meal. That's my tip for you.
Fish and chips.
Yeah, that'll
with gravy or with chili sauce.
I'll go with either. I mean, I'm from the north originally, so gravy works well. But,
Okay.
but I will also have curry sauce. I can be flexible.
I lived on that. I did the Brighton Fringe Festival at one point, and I wasn't getting very much money doing this play above a pub. And me and my I think there was 3 of us in the cast. No, there was 5 of us in the cast, but me and him were tight, and tight as in good friends, but also tight as in broke. So we were being tight as well. And we'd go to the fish and chip shop, and I think sometimes we could only afford a portion of chips each and some curry sauce to share, or if we were feeling particularly wealthy, we could afford a sausage in batter along with the chips, and that's all we had to eat. We had no other money. It's terrible.
My first year after I graduated, I lived off pasta and tomatoes. That's all I ate, for about a year. After I paid all my bills. Yeah, and now I'm like, I still love pasta and tomatoes as well, actually. It doesn't bother me at all. But it makes you realise you can get comfortable, can't you? And sometimes getting uncomfortable is good for growth.
Yes. So I'm going to paraphrase it, but there's a David Bowie quote stroke meme that goes around wonderful Facebook and the internet and social media, where he sort of says, the thing about challenge, about pushing your boundaries, is imagine you're in the water and you can just touch the bottom, and you're swimming along and you can just touch the bottom. You just want to just go out, a meter or a yard or a few feet out, where you just can't touch the bottom. You just can't. And it's a little bit scary, but you can start back into where you can touch the bottom again. And he said, that's the area that you want to be in. That's the area, that's the sort of playful edge. That's the place where growth can happen. That's the place where the excitement is, because it's dangerous enough and it's safe enough as well. And so, I always remember that. I think that's a brilliant analogy. What an amazing man He was.
He was, absolutely. And so, Christmas, are you pantoing it up again?
I am. I've been called back by popular demand. I think I've been dug up actually. So I did. I used to do these sing-alongs, as I've said. I still do them, but they're kind of seasonal now. They're usually in sort of January and February, and then the company sort of like has a rest, and then happens again in January and February. So I was doing sing-along of Grease many years ago up at the Alhambra Theatre in Dunfermline, and the kind of caretaker of the theatre came up jangling his keys and let me in, and I said, "Oh, this is a beautiful theatre," and just sort of, because it's an amazing theatre. It's like 1,200 seats, 1922 auditorium, all kind of Art Deco-ish, I suppose, a bit Art Nouveau-ish, Art Deco-ish. It's sort of around that period. It just looks stunning. The stage is vast, wonderful. Anyway, I posted the show there, thought nothing of it, and then the stage manager came around and said, "Oh, the owner of the theatre wants to see you, wants you to be in pantomime. Can you meet him tomorrow in Edinburgh for a coffee?" I said, "Well, I can. I'm getting my train tomorrow morning, so can we meet at blah blah time?" So we had a brunch and a cappuccino, and of course the caretaker who was jangling his keys was the owner of the theatre.
Oh, no way.
Yeah. And he sat and chatted and said, "Oh, we want you to be in panto," and that was Jack and the Beanstalk. And so I did Jack and the Beanstalk there. And he said, "I think it would be good if you the baddie, because you've got your RP accent. You can do your, very cut glass accent. And because, of course, everyone's Scottish and, they love to boo an English person in Scotland."
Absolutely.
So, yeah, it's good fun. And I was like, "Oh, I've never played a baddie before." I loved it. I loved it. I would get them so angry, their blood would be boiling. And I remember, I think, at the end when you're a baddie, the fairy usually says something like, "Oh, boys and girls, what shall we do with flesh creep? What are we going to do, boys and girls?" And usually they go, "Oh, we'll make him good," and wave a magic wand over me and I become good. "What shall we do, boys and girls?" And these kids are going, "Kill him! Kill him!" And this little boy, I remember him. It's like 3 years old, standing in the aisle, stamping his feet, going, "Chop his head off! Chop his head off!" I was like trying desperately not to piss myself laughing, going, "Oh no, I am scared. What are you going to do?" But I thought my work here is done. They absolutely hate me. And so once I understood that, I just, pressed that button of making them scream at me and hate me and boo me. And the more that happens, the more I enjoy it, And so consequently, I kind of went back there every other year. And then even when I had my daughter, we went back. And then I had my son. The year I had my son, I went back. But then I sort of said, "Look, this is too much really now." It was every other year. It was great. Wonderful company. They have amazing sets. They have amazing scripts, and it's a 1,200 seat theatre, and there's children's shows. They are full. They are full of 1,200 children, right? And then the evening shows, sometimes you're going, "Oh, it feels a bit empty," but there's 500 people in the audience. It's still hundreds of people.
Yeah.
Hundreds of people. It's an amazing experience to do a show like that and it's original. It's an independently run large theatre. There's not that many around. But anyway, my kids got to that age where I went, I have to be around for my kids now. And there's other sort of family things. I have to be at home. But I got a call from, the caretaker stroke owner of the theatre stroke producer, impresario, Mr. Bill Fletcher. And he phoned me up and said, "Mark, can we tempt you back to do panto?" And I was like, I'm not so sure. And he said, "No, come on, please come back." We were doing flesh creep in Jack and the Beanstalk. And I said, "Oh, okay." And he said, "It's set in the Wild West." I went, "Oh, yeah, okay. I'm on. We'll do it. So I'm back up in Scotland, but I'm not sure whether
Fantastic.
I'll have a cut glass accent, British accent, to get more booze, or
Mm.
if it's in the Wild West, whether I'll go and be American. I don't know which way to go. Not sure. What do
You've
you
got time to
think?
think about it. Well, I mean, I like to stay on topic with the. I guess what's the American accent, which should be the evil American accent equivalent? Like, is there one? And I don't know if there
Something comes to
is.
mind, but I don't want to say on the podcast.
Yeah, maybe keep that one until later.
Yes.
But keep it topical anyway, in terms of see what they want when you get there. Maybe you can try one accent one night, one the other different night, and see which one
Oh, my
goes.
word! Switch it up. We'll
Yeah, like a
see. We'll see what
beta testing.
happens.
Yeah, who
We'll see what
knows?
happens. It'll be lots of fun.
Definitely.
So yeah, I'm really looking forward
Congratulations.
to that. Yeah.
Talking of Americans, I have a very dear friend who's American. His wife is Croatian,
Hmm.
and they'd never seen Panto. And I was like, well, you have to see Panto. Being lovely people, they Googled pantomime, and in their heads they thought it was some sort of French mime act before they went. So I took them down to the West End to see what's the big one that they do every year? Is it the Palladium that they have the
Yes, the
one on TV?
Palladium.
So I
You have
thought
to
we're going to do it.
remortgage your house. Yeah.
Absolutely, yes, we did that. And now got my house back, but it was worth it. But what I loved was their reaction, because they didn't have any clue what to expect. And in particular, his wife, who's Croatian, was like, she's a lecturer at university on social studies, and she was like, I love how inclusive this is. I was like, what do you mean? So it's like, it doesn't matter like whether you're rich or poor, or north or south, like this, like you all do this. I was like, yeah, we do. I mean, the rich part, you have to go for the Palladium, it's true, because it is expensive, but it was worth it as a one-off. And I think Panto is that amazing thing that you, like you say, it doesn't matter, because there's innuendo for the adults, there's visuals and funny things for the kids. It's such a wonderful part of our culture,
It
and I can
is.
only imagine it's wonderful to be on stage doing it.
Yeah, it's a blending pot. There's always something topical in it, and
Yeah.
there's always a love story. I directed one of the ones up there, actually. I directed Aladdin, so and sort of co-wrote bits of it as well. And yeah, we were like, no, look, the string of this is the love story, that's, and as long as the love story is kind of pure and really engaging, all the other silliness happens around the love story, and the love story is sort of true to form. And this is, you can go into this in depth, and I can sound like I've got a PhD in pantomime, but pantomime is based on comedy dell'arte, and there was I was fortunate enough to do a play very early in my career by Aphra Behn called The Emperor of the Moon, which used comedy dell'arte, but I think it's sort of written in the 1600s. I think this is where I'm looking like I'm not so knowledgeable, but it uses Scaramouche and all of those tropes, all of those stereotypes, Harlequin, the lovers, all of these tropes, which literally you could look at that play and you could look at who these people are. Like there's a foolish old man, who's who in The Emperor of the Moon is obsessed with the moon and astronomy, and he's being tricked by Scaramouche. Well, Scaramouche is the baddie, and the old man is usually like, if you're in Panto, it's the king, the king, the princess's dad, oh, hello, everyone, and, bumbling, and, so they're all from back then to now the same. And that play is based on what Aphra Behn saw in Italy, because a lot of real comedy dell'arte wasn't written down. It was players literally out the back of the van with their masks on doing the whole thing. And so she saw that, then she wrote a play based on it. So that's one of the first examples of written sort of pantomime themes. And you look at that now and it still links with today.
So
It's amazing, isn't it? You think
love
that's
that.
hundreds of years, but it's
Yeah.
so current.
I think it's the old thing of like, we're not learning new things, we're just adjusting them for what we need now. And there's no, it's not there's no original ideas, but there's so much foundation in the past that we can draw and then improve or just make our own. And I think that's It's wonderful. Someone who loves history, that's wonderful.
Well, yeah, it's human nature and it's human culture, isn't it? You know,
Yeah.
I mean, we are kind of over-evolved apes, aren't we? But sort of really should be.
Some more than others.
But we should be living in a cave eating oysters and things like that. Apparently, that's what we did. I went to South Africa, and at the bottom of a golf course, hanging out of the side of a cliff, was this cave that they discovered when they were building the golf course, and it had human remains in it, and it had everything that they were eating. They were eating oysters and lot of oysters, a few animal bones and seeds and things. But it seemed like they were eating mainly shellfish. But they said, look, at the time, this cave was 2 kilometers from the sea.
Oh, wow.
At the time,
Okay.
it wasn't right where it is now,
Yeah.
by the sea, literally virtually falling into it. And so you think, okay, that I can go off topic. We're talking about cavemen and shellfish, but you think about family groups, clans of people working together. It's the same now, you know, even though we've got at our fingertips on Facebook or wherever thousands of people you can broadcast to and you can communicate with. Actually, in real life, the people you talk to is a very small tribe of people. You know, there's obviously your close family, but then there's your close friends around you, maybe your neighbours, maybe your close friends, you know, from childhood, whatever. But actually, we're evolved to only have a small group of people in our social circle. And, you know, it's important to remember relationship and that camaraderie. And that was one of the good things, wasn't it, about the pandemic?
Yes. Oh, yeah. It brought out the best in a lot of people, I thought.
Yeah, it really did.
In ourselves,
yeah, people looking out for each other, caring about each other, caring about their neighbours, and all of that. You know, we have we set up a Facebook group during that, and it's still running now, and we still sort of communicate on that, and we have little barbecues once or twice a year on our little green. So, you know, we're keeping the flame alive, but it does create community, and I think community is something that's of massive value, you know, in business, in, you know, socially, in day-to-day life. But it's a little bit like, well, that has no value. People sort of look at it, they kind of commoditize everything into money. And I think maybe money isn't everything.
Well, I think going back to what you said at the start with the confidence, the going out there and exploring people, that's how you live a fulfilled life. It's not being on your own and on the phone and not communicating. It's going out and interacting and being part of your tribe, however big and small that is.
I agree. It's about living. It's about life is experiential, isn't it? You know, so it's a collection of experience which hopefully when we get old we'll remember, if our brains stay intact enough, that we will remember these wonderful memories of all these things we've done. But even, you know, day to day, it's about experience. And then one day you will pass away and all the things you've accrued, all the possessions won't matter. It will just be a collection of the experiences. People will remember your experiences with you and what you did. Experiences, it's everything. It really is.
People remember not what you said, but how you made them feel.
Oh, that's very profound. You should write it on a gift card.
Yeah. On that note, thank you ever so much, Mark. It's been wonderful talking to you. And I look forward to hearing about all the adventures with the school, with the panto, with everything else that you do. I have no doubt it'll be fantastic.
Thank you very much for inviting me. It's been an absolute pleasure. Any time you want to chat, I'm always here.
You know I am too. Brilliant.
Thanks very much. Bye-bye.
Cheers. Bye.
Bye.